Hi, everybody.
I think it's kind of weird that my book is green and then the old covers are like purple.
Mm-hmm. My copy's green too.
What color is your copy of Blood Promise then?
Purple.
What?
Yeah.
Mine's purple. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Because I really associate green with Blood Promise. So every time I see green, I think it's Blood Promise, but no, it's not.
TB's here.
Hi.
Hi.
Literally, as a designer, nothing annoys me more than inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And now I have to go to sleep knowing that your copies are like that.
They're all, like everyone. Y'all are reading the new A Court of Thorns and Roses book.
Yeah.
And I'm like rebelling on buying that copy of the book. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it to attract more readers, and I don't really know like what was the point, but it's okay. Like, I don't know. At this point, whatever. Like, we just have to get used to it.
Right.
I just won't buy it.
They actually have my library. I'm surprised, so I put a hold on it. So
no, I didn't get the last 2 copies of the Vampire Academy series for like 10 years because I wanted it in the original covers. I'm not gonna break.
And the weird thing is, like, nobody wants to sell them, so you can't really find them anywhere because no one wants to get rid of them. So,
the OG VA covers?
Yeah, I want those, but
I'm taking mine to the grave.
Yeah.
I don't think the new covers match though. Like they don't match anything in the book to me. They look like, I don't know, something completely different.
Yeah, I hate
it modern but cute, and they didn't do that.
I really hate all of the people on the covers of them because like none of them look like Rose.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and they changed for like every book. They're like different people. I don't know. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that I like is that like the V and the A, like when you touch it, it has like a different, like it feels different from the other part of the book.
You're
so
being
nice.
taught by texture.
Yeah, it's good.
You're not touching it as often as you're looking at it.
No, here's the thing. My 4th book, like all of them have that same thingy that I'm talking about, but the 4th one is just the same texture. And I was so mad about it. I was so mad. And I haven't been able to find it with the different one. I don't know why.
They can't do anything right.
Really?
I actually didn't notice for a very long time that the redone covers, the ones that you have, Nicole, actually have I don't know if they're the same photos, but they still have a picture in the background. And I didn't notice for a very long time. I thought it was just the VA and then a color. I ignored it so hard.
I think it's the same person from the old covers,
Yeah.
and they just added like the VA and maybe like a little zoomed in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they did.
Yeah, I just don't get it because like that's essentially almost the same cover as the original with the purple cover. Like it's the same photo as the purple cover. For some reason, they decided to make it green.
I think somebody forgot and they messed up the order.
And there are like 2. I don't know I think it's like 2 green. Yeah. So this one is like a forest green, and then the other one is like a green going towards like a bluish, but they look the same. So I don't understand why they would have 2 greens.
Is that Last Sacrifice?
Yeah, I think so. I just can't really see it, but I think so.
No. If any of you are interested in some weird covers of Vampire Academy, y'all should DM Rachel from Shipwrecked Library because she has been getting some bootleg versions. And she DMs me every time she gets a new one, and I feel like it's just getting worse. Yeah, I don't think Bloodlines is gonna get a revamp, but the Bloodline covers are worse than the original.
I got them all like last month, and
Yeah.
they're so bad. But they look like early 2000s YA trash. So
they look like mafia trash to me. Like that's what it's trying to be, a YA mafia.
So I remember when I was in high school, and I had a friend who grabbed the Vampire Academy book, and it was the original cover with like the people on it, and it is kind of like sexual in like the last two books, I think, because there's like a guy and a girl, and they're like looking all like swoony and stuff. And my friend's like, oh, they should not have this in a high school library. This is all sexual, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, there's literally like not even that many like intense scenes in this series. Like I just don't think the covers represent the series at all. Like, yeah.
No, they represent the era of publishing.
Yeah.
The Bloodline covers are just questionable. Watch me end up really loving the series and like needing to have a physical copy of it. I will design my own covers and just like put that back on it.
I'm nervous for those ones.
I think I found mine on thrift books for like $3 each. So it was a good deal.
Yeah, I have like a fancy box set of like the Vampire Academy series, and my friend, like, we switched series because I had like a mismatch set and she had a box set, and she was like, I feel like yours would be better because then you can show it on your BookTube channel and it'll look more aesthetic.
That's so nice.
Yeah. I don't have the Bloodline series yet. I have 3 books, I think. I don't have all of them.
Yeah, I have the first one, but I don't have the others yet.
Mm-hmm. I have like 2, 5, and 6 or something. Like I don't have the first book.
That's perfect. That's me.
Yeah, it's you, Jess. You little kid, you buying the second book in a series and not realizing it.
I'm better now. Now I have reading comprehension and can read when a book is the first or the second. Yeah. I feel like it's criminal that no cover had a stake on it. Sorry. That was my last comment because TV was like, for as violent as the series is, it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I guess the non-spoiler section. How do we feel about this book?
Let me check to see what I rated this book.
I feel like
okay, go ahead.
When I was rereading it this time, I guess I didn't realize how slow and almost boring this book is. Like, I think compared to the other books and the way I remember them. So I was kind of like, oh, that sucks. Like, while rereading it, I felt like it was just really, really slow and like nothing was happening until like the very end.
I kind of felt that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
There were definitely like some big moments, which I'm excited to dig into. But yeah, just a lot of the in-between kind of just conversations going on. I was a little bogged down.
I feel like it was just more mental and political battling versus physical battling. So it feels like a slower read. But Shadow Kiss to me is like the pivotal turning point in the whole series.
No, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think another reason I think it's like slow is it feels like a high school drama again because it takes place like in the high school, whereas even though Frostbite, they're still in high school, they're not at the school, so I feel like it doesn't feel as much like a high school drama, and like the later books don't feel like that at all, at least not in my opinion. So I don't know.
I thought it was a little more interesting when some of the characters were separated. And like Jess said, with the mental stuff that was going on, like I think there were ghosts and people missing people. But I think that once we get to the end and you find out what the story is like actually about and where it's going forward, I think the next book will probably be more interesting than this one.
Oh,
yeah. The next book was my favorite in the series.
Yeah, mine too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine too.
Good thing ahead considering 3 people agree.
I think for me, like the first half of the book, I was just like, how did I get through this back then?
Mhm.
Like, I was ready to DNF. I was like, this is so boring. I was falling asleep. I'm not kidding. But then you hit like chapter 17 or so, and everything just picks up, and I feel like it's a lot quicker than the beginning. And I guess they were trying to set everything for what's to come. So you had to like read this book in order to get everything that's gonna happen. But I mean, overall, like I still enjoyed it, but not as much as the other two.
Mhm.
Shadowkiss is a necessary evil. Like, you need what happens in Shadowkiss to enjoy the rest of the series.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was as boring as you guys.
It was boring. I disagree. It's
I,
not the strongest.
I had a lot better of a time with this one than Frostbite, which was surprising because I remember, I mean, I've reread them many times, but it's been a long time since I've reread them from when I was younger. And I think I just remember really liking the first three books a lot. And then Frostbite, for whatever reason, like the ending got me, but the whole book itself, I wasn't as invested this time around. And in Shadowkiss, I feel I was more invested. But I think the one thing I realized was it's because I like the next, 4 installment of books. When I think of this series, I guess what I think of are these next 4 books as being my favorite.
Yeah.
I definitely think that the character interactions were really kind of made it for me too, which made me like it more than like it less, just because like I really got to know Eddie a lot.
Mhm.
Really like him as a character, and
I love Eddie.
Christian. I love the pairing between Christian and Rose working together. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I want to know more how Nana feels about it. Like, this is your first time reading it, so I'm just like curious. Did you like it more or less?
It's difficult to say like it more because I think I like them all the same. If I had to rank them, I think I'd put the first one, then the second one, then the third one, just in order. But for me, it was nice, and I still I have the same points I always say. I like the world building. I like Rose and Lissa. The supporting characters are cool. Christian, I think the story would have been way less interesting if it was Rose paired with Lissa, how she usually is, but then she's paired with Christian. And so that's really interesting, and he's a cool character to experience. But of course, the love interest, I still don't like him. But I think that with the ending, I'm interested to see where it's going to go. But I guess I just have a feeling that it's not going to turn out the way I want it to turn out. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Ish.
I just want to see you become a diehard convert by the end of it.
I know.
You don't have the nostalgia factor to like push you.
Right. Yeah, like that. I'm so curious to see if it's going to happen. But I feel like maybe in Bloodlines, because there's different characters in those books, right?
Yeah, it's a spinoff.
Maybe in those books.
They have there's side characters, I think. I think the main character is a character we haven't even met yet in this series.
Yeah, I think we meet her in the next book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we meet the main character in the next book.
Frostbite's
my least favorite.
What's your favorite?
Frostbite's my least favorite.
I guess that's how I am feeling now, that I didn't realize before that Frostbite wasn't as good as I remembered it being. And in this one, just like Nana said, I think the fact that she's paired with Christian and just like the interactions between her and Christian made it really interesting for me, not just because I'm the biggest Christian fan, but because he's a really interesting character. And I think that some of the stuff that he says and the way that he thinks really makes Rose think about things. And I kind of just like the way that they support each other in this book.
That is a great point. No.
Like, you kind of have to get to the end to really appreciate what's happening as they build up to the ending, because it is pretty epic. I can't wait to see Nana's reaction as we go.
I think what happens in the next 3 books is the reason why the vampires in this series are some of my favorites. I just love like how it goes. So I'm really excited to see Nana and what she thinks about them. Like I just feel like you can like them a little bit more once you read the other 3. I have
hope
hope.
so. Yeah, I think I'm going to start them this month because I kind of want to get through them. I always say this and I never do, but we'll see if I like get through them because there's a lot. So I'd like to finish them, but we'll see because I think, you know, if we like focus more on the world building and stuff, and I think where the story is going, maybe in the non-spoiler, I mean, in the spoiler section, we'll get to it, but like where the story ended is interesting to me. And I just finished, what's it called? A Song of Race and Ruin. And it kind of has a similar, I guess, trope. And so that stuff is really interesting to me.
Yeah, I think that if you like the world building that's happening throughout all of these books so far, but especially in this one, then you'll definitely like the next installments because I think they dive much deeper into the world building.
Yeah, for sure.
The last, like the second half of this series is why I give Vampire Academy so much kudos because that's where things really start to get complex and where like things that the groundwork has been laid down starts coming back and things, it's just like a giant web of things that come back and tie together. The last half of the series is what I think makes it better than like the typical trashy YA series that people think of from the 2010s.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I'm so excited for Nana to read the rest of this.
Watch as I become the biggest fan. It's like my favorite book. I have posters and everything. It might happen. We'll see.
The book is so good, it sends you back like 12 years in time.
It's happening to me. I'm digressing.
Do we want to go into the spoilers now?
Yeah, I think we can.
I'm ready. Wait, I want to ask a quick question to Steph before I forget it. Christian or Adrian? Like, which one do you love more? Like, who would win for your heart?
So far during this reread, it's Christian.
Okay.
It's Christian, yeah. You guys can have Adrian, like he's cool, we'll be friends, but
Okay. We'll revisit this question for the last VA book, and we'll see. Because every time you're like, I'm such a Christian stan, and then we start talking about Adrian, and you're like, oh, I love Adrian.
I do love Adrian. I think he's a great character, especially in contrast to Dimitri, personality-wise. You know, he has one. I would like to put this on the record that Dimitri didn't bother me in this book as he has been. So I'm growing.
Wait, he didn't?
He didn't?
This is when he bothered me the most.
I think it's because I was able to ignore him.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know
also,
the first notes that I took for this book?
Yes.
I said, okay, so Shadowkiss dealing with grief was interesting. Dimitri continues to be weird. They try to make you more sympathetic to him when Rose notices that he's always alone and doesn't have any friends, which is understandable.
I think that being in quarantine, I just like related so hard.
If Adrian gets a character arc in Blood, I did not know that we were going to get any of our old characters in Bloodlines. I thought it was just that spinoff. So that makes me more excited about Bloodlines.
Yeah, I thought you knew. That's like the only reason I wanted to read Bloodlines is because Adrian's in it.
I had no idea. I'm just a completionist.
I'm so excited for you now.
Can you please highlight the last comment TV just sent?
Wow, you're drawn in by that leather jacket and Western novels, huh? Only personality trait.
No, I think it's just more that like even though he's so like contradictory of himself oftentimes. Like he'll call Rose a kid and be like, you still have growing to do, but then he'll turn around and be like, I'm going to treat you like an adult. I do feel like in this book he was less doing that whole thing where he treated her more like an adult in this book than I think in the other ones. But he still had that whole like, I'm going to treat you like you're a child because you haven't graduated yet.
Well, I mean, I think it gets harder to treat someone like a child when you sleep with them. I think you kind of have to grapple with that part.
Did we say we were doing spoilers?
I know it's a little bit
I
better.
already said so.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
think everyone has read the book in this chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely said spoilers at some point.
Do y'all remember the chapter when they actually like? Wait, are we doing spoilers now? Yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can. Yeah.
Okay.
I already
Does anyone have like the chapter where they have sex? Because I don't have my books, but I did write on it, and I remember that I wrote something like gagging. or something.
Can I be honest?
They weren't super graphic with it though, were they?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was listening to it on audiobook, and as soon as it started, I was like, I already know what happens, and I skipped it.
That's fair. That's valid.
It's just I guess when I was younger, it didn't really bother me that he was the instructor. Like I didn't really comprehend how bad it was. But right now I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And I don't know, it didn't make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, it was definitely a choice.
Yeah. I feel like it's now because all of us are older than Rose is. But we're simultaneously... how old is Dimitri? He's 24. Okay,
Yeah.
Some of us are younger than Dimitri. Some of us are older. But either way, we're all older than Rose, and now we're like Rose's child. Rose's baby.
Yeah. When I was reading it when I was 14, I'm like, oh yeah, Rose is basically an adult. It's the same. It's fine.
I don't know. I've never really liked Dimitri from the very beginning of me reading the series and reading it over and over again. Like I've never really liked Dimitri as a love interest, and I don't know if I was younger, if it was because I felt uncomfortable that he was older, or if I just didn't think he fit well with her. But it's obviously like more noticeable now that it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
What's weird for me is like I don't know. I like Dimitri, but I also love Adrian. So like I don't know. Like I like Rose and Dimitri together. I know like everybody hates it, but I'm fine with it. But I also love Adrian. So like I don't know where I land if you're like Team Dimitri, Team Adrian. Like I'm in the middle. I like both of them.
Yeah. I don't think I was ever soft for Dimitri. I respected him, but I don't think I ever liked him as a love interest.
The thing is though, Adrian's older than her as well.
Yeah, but
people like for Adrian.
I think that Dimitri's like 26 or something, and I think Adrian's like 22. I don't know.
No, I think Adrian's 21 and Dimitri's 24, I think.
We all
like, at the end of the day, Rose is still a minor when both of them are like hitting on her. But I guess what makes it look less creepy about Adrian is that he's not Rose's teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Adrian was 21. Okay, I thought he was like 19, which would have been slightly better because then like 19 and 17 isn't necessarily illegal depending on where they are. I don't know like the sex laws of whatever state they're in, so I can't tell you. But I don't know. Because I just think Adrian's more fun and lighthearted. I think they have better chemistry when it comes to banter and just having fun together versus Dimitri always having to be serious and boring.
Yeah, I feel like Adrian is Rose, but in a guy.
I kind of like, I guess, oh, sorry.
No, that was it.
I guess I feel like I personally am like kind of trash for the angsty, like tragic tragic love stories that like can't work out kind of thing. So maybe that's kind of why I like the story. And then Adrian, I don't really like him because he's so pushy and forceful, and I don't know, he's annoying to me.
I feel similarly, but I couldn't put it into words, but I think that's what it is. I think I just get like a vibe from him that I'm not drawn to. So I don't know who I can like anymore, because like Mason's gone, and so he's the only
Eddie.
Oh yeah,
but you can like him.
I guess. We'll see.
Christian, you're
This
allowed.
book made me
Right.
fall in love with Christian, though, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm all about Christian.
Thank you.
You 3 books for that? Where have you been?
Honestly,
Well, I liked him, but you just didn't get to know him that well until this book. I feel like I really get to know him because it's all kind of Rose just kind of pushing against the whole Christian thing and trashing him because of the Strigoi crap. So
I think for me,
dramatic.
I think for me, it's always, if you give me a sarcastic character, I'm gonna love them, and I think that's why I like Adrian. Is that I don't know that I like Adrian because I want him as a love interest with Rose. I think I just like Adrian because he's dumb
For
and
yourself.
he's dumb.
Listen, Christian lit someone on fire because he was being an asshole.
Mhm.
What more do you
Christian
need
is
to know
like-
about him?
Yeah, he's like the emo boy.
Yeah.
So
That's fair. He's like
Yeah.
attached to Lisa,
Mhm.
which I think was the exciting part about Shadow Kiss. The fact that both Rose and Christian, who are usually attached to Lisa at the hip, are now forced to not do that.
They have a fun banter together.
They do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They have good chemistry. But like bro TP chemistry, not ever love interest. I'm not here for that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's wild to me. Rose threw a lot of tantrums in this book. Her throwing a tantrum over getting paired with Christian was so dumb because I'm like, did you really think? Like, they all know we can protect Lisa. We get it. You need to prove something.
Yeah, I cringed so hard in this book. Like, I feel like it didn't hit me as much the other times that I've read the series, but like reading the series now, I'm like, Rose, stop complaining about literally everything. It's like every left turn, she's throwing a tantrum about something, and then they're like when she doesn't defend Christian, and they're like, oh, you didn't mess up, you did it on purpose because we know that you didn't want to defend Christian and be his partner, and it's like, what do you think was going to happen, Rose? Like, it's like she does this for herself.
I can't blame her for that one, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know that like it wasn't her fault because of Mason's ghost, but like they're going to think that she did it on purpose because of the way she acted.
Well, and the thing, yeah, that's true. And then with Stan, though, like that's kind of falling into that trope where they always make the adult characters like against the kids and out to like destroy the kids and discredit them. And I really am so tired of that trope. And Stan is like, because even after that incident, he was like quick to jump her case about something else that was completely obviously not the fault. He just didn't like her.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I feel like as annoying as Rose was getting because of her outburst, like she did have a reason for it first. But secondly, I do feel like it doesn't matter how many times Rose proves herself at this school or with people, nobody ever takes her seriously or gives her any respect. There's very few teachers that are willing to listen to her about anything or lash out on her. I mean, even the queen was like, no, you're a whore.
Yeah. That's crazy. I
Trying to
really,
protect her nephew for Lisa. That's
Yeah.
so dumb.
Yeah. That's a good point. This comment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is valid. In Rose's defense, she was going through a lot. There was the shadow energy from Lisa. She killed a man for the first time ever. I'm sure that affects a person. And then like Mason dying. Like I get it. She was going through a lot. And also she's 17. And what 17-year-old doesn't throw a tantrum every now and then?
Yeah.
But it was a lot.
I will say that really annoyed me when Rose, like time and time again, Dimitri asked and Liz asked, "What's going on? Will you tell me what's happening?" And she's like, "Nothing's happening." Like she wouldn't confide in them about the ghost thing. And I'm like, Dimitri and Lissa are going to believe you and they're going to help you. Like just tell them. I'm so sick of that trope too, of just like not telling anybody because you think that they're going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in her own defense, didn't she think she was crazy?
Do you think that the whole shadow kiss thing is kind of coming up late? Like the author didn't intend that from the beginning because they had been shadow kissed for some time and she didn't have this darkness.
That's because it started coming up is because she's now like given death because she had killed people in Frostbite. So now she's like even closer to like the afterlife or whatever, and that's why she could see Mason. And also when they're in the wards, she wouldn't have been able to see any ghosts because there's wards, but because that they the mana or whatever group and they were doing those powers and they were like breaking down the wards is why that like Mason like slipped in, I guess.
But like in book 1 when they're talking about how they were on their own for a year, they weren't any wards then.
Yeah, but she hadn't killed anybody at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's
a combination of things.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
And it also wasn't that bad for Lisa back then. Like it was bad, but I think it got it got worse when they went back to the school.
Yeah.
What is it that triggers Lisa's darkness again? Is it just her using her powers or is it something else?
Yeah, using spirit and like compulsion and stuff like that. I think that was book 1 where she started going pretty.
Yeah.
She was starting to compulse everybody.
Well, she was on meds. Was she on meds in this book? Is this the book where she starts taking?
This is where she goes off the meds. So
okay.
She kind of was like for like half of the book, I think.
Okay.
This is where she starts getting a little dark, like with the what's that guy's name, Jesse or something? The asshole who was like in charge of Mana and like kidnapped her.
Yeah,
she got a little dark there, which I don't blame her for. I mean, deserved it just for a second, and then stop. But speaking of compulsion, Lisa compulsing Rose at the end.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of a line that they've never crossed before. I didn't even like pick up on that.
Someone commented on I love it. Of course. Someone commented on our Twitter. I guess I posted the thing like, "Oh, we're gonna have our live show, whatever," and then someone quote tweeted, I hope we're all ready to admit that Rose and Lisa's friendship is unhealthy."
I mean, it was. That one scene, those, what was it, 2 paragraphs during which it happened was pivotal for so many reasons, both for them individually and them as a friendship. Because, like, Rose was right when she was saying, like, it's always been about Lisa. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Lisa has ever verbalized it. I don't think she's ever asked Rose to do all the things that she does, but she's always assumed that it would happen anyway. So for Rose to make her own decisions for once that don't involve Lisa at all, like, that was a wake-up call that Lisa needed to have. She needed to have that wake-up call to be like, you're not the center of attention, and if you're a good friend, then you do what's good for your friends and not just what's good for you. But it was also like individually a pivotal moment, one for Rose to put her foot down and center herself for once, even though she wasn't even centering herself. She was centering Dimitri, which gag, but okay, a step. And then for Lisa to realize that she is not as good of a person as she thinks she is.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Nana.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say that besides the world building, I think their relationship is the most interesting because it's like it's just documenting how it was kind of doomed to fail just by nature of their dynamic with each other. Because of course, I think one comment said, like, it's not really healthy, their relationship, because of how Rose has to be there for Lisa and also their connection. And so it's just doomed to fail in a sense. And honestly, it's kind of surprising that they're even as close as they were up to this point.
I think, like, Rose grew up thinking that she needed to defend the Moroi, and that's why her friendship is just very toxic in a way. Like, she is willing to give up everything in her life for Lisa. And I mean, we all know that you always come first and then everyone else. But I don't think Rose realizes that because of the way she grew up and all the ideals that and beliefs that the Dampiers have. So I think that can also be like influence.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think she has always been kind of like, she knew her lot and the way things are, but then when it came to her everyday life, it was kind of disconnected. And now we're getting these little strings that it's starting to connect, like her real purpose, and that, like, just like, yeah, starting to make those connections now and how it affects her at a deeper level. It's more like a stage of growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also like the amount of times that Rose thought to tell Liz something, like whether that be like Strigoi related or royalty related, or even like her relationship with Dimitri. Like she's like, oh, like there's so many times where she's like thinking like, oh, I should tell Lissa this, but then she realizes that Lissa like isn't in a great mood or something. So then she, like Rose, like censors herself so that like she doesn't trigger Lissa to have like a dark reaction or anything. And it's like, that's not healthy for either of them. Like, Rose needs to be able to talk to somebody because it's probably part of the reason. I mean, of course, Lissa's darkness, but part of the reason why Rose is so, like, ready to, like, smack someone in the face, like, in this book. Because, like, she literally has nobody to confide in. Not even, like, she wouldn't even talk to Dimitri at points. And then, like, it's not healthy for Lissa to, like, not be there for her friend either. Like, yeah, their relationship is toxic.
I like that when she finally cracked and did confide in Dimitri, he still didn't fully like believe her either, because it's kind of one of those, like, we're all sick of the trope where like, oh my god, if you would have just talked to somebody. But her fears were valid, and when she did put it to the test, they didn't believe her. So it kind of makes that communication issue like not such a problem for me as far as like.
I still think that if Rose had told somebody before when she did, even if they didn't believe her at first, maybe like after some communication, they would have eventually came to the point like, oh, maybe there is something going on. And then maybe they would have figured out with the wards way earlier before a giant Strigoi attack. So like, I still think that Rose should have told somebody way early on in the book.
But they did find out about it. They found out about the ghost and she was put in therapy. So...
but they didn't. That's because they thought that she was crazy, not because like they didn't think anything valid was happening. And I feel like I just don't think the communication was handled the right way. I guess if that makes sense.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think that it would have made a difference. I think they would have still handled it the same way, where they would have put her in therapy or tried to figure out what the situation is, because she even made it very clear that like in their culture they don't believe in ghosts. It goes beyond what they actually believe in. So I think that either way she would have been put in therapy or kind of dismissed. And I think that theme is very prevalent with what I was talking about earlier, where like teachers and people dismiss her all the time, because I think that Dimitri and Lissa can only do so much, right? Like even if she told them, Dimitri's action plan would have probably been for her to talk to somebody, and then it probably would have resulted in therapy again. But I actually enjoyed the therapy aspect of it, because while I wanted them to believe her, she did actually get to talk about her unhealthy relationship to Lissa and her ideas about being a Dampier. And like even the therapist was like, I get that this is what you're raised to believe, but do you think it's fair? And she just wouldn't answer the question because of what she believes and how she was raised.
I'm so glad that therapy was included in this book, because I wouldn't have been shocked to see, like, Rose literally killed a man. She killed 2 people, I think, in the book prior, and she saw someone that she cared a lot about die in front of her. And it's so common to see in YA books these teenagers go through so much trauma and then nothing happens. They don't have any PTSD. Nothing's wrong with them after that. Like if I accidentally punch somebody, I think I'd have a little bit of trauma because I'm not a violent person. So even if they were raised for that, it's a traumatic thing. And I'm glad that she went to therapy, and I'm glad they portrayed that. I do think you're right in the sense of, like, they would have dismissed her anyway. I think there's a lot of lack of respect for Rose. And I think Rose, it has to have gone far back, because Rose wasn't even willing to, way back before the first book, wasn't even willing to tell them that something was wrong. She just took Lisa and ran, which sucks. But, like, that's the trope in these books where adults never trust, like, minors, which sucks. But also, I want to bring it back to Rose talking to Lisa. I do agree that she should have confided in Lisa, and maybe their relationship would have been in a better place by the end of the book. But I also don't blame her for that. I don't blame her for recognizing that Lisa was in a bad place and not telling her about it. Because personally, with my friends, like, if I'm struggling with something myself, I always ask them first. I'm like, hey, do you have the emotional capacity to deal with my problems right now before I start dumping? So I don't think that Rose was wrong in not telling Lisa when Lisa was in a bad place. I think she was wrong in not telling Lisa, hey, I'm going through something. Like, you don't have to listen to that right now if you don't have the capacity to deal with that right now, but I want you to know that I'm going through something. And whenever you are able to be in a place to support me, I would really appreciate that. And there was a comment somewhere here, I can't remember who said it, about how Rose knew the side effects of taking in that spirit energy from Lisa and did it anyway. Yeah. I think that's so... How much value does Rose put on her own life? Because I think that's the root of why she doesn't talk to anyone about her problems, why she didn't tell anyone when Lisa was in trouble in the first place, and why she didn't tell anyone about this ghost either. Because it's like, what value does she have on her own life? Does she think her life has any worth beyond what it can do for other people?
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the therapist asking her, like, do you think these things are fair? And she's unable to answer it because and her go-to answer is always, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm training for. This is what my life is. What does it matter what I want when that's not what our society is built upon? And so I agree. I think she doesn't really have any regard for her life. It's always about who she's protecting and Lissa.
Well, and do we want to get into, like, the queen as well? Because she brings up some points about, like, just the way she talks about Dompiers, and she's just like, all of the Moroi kind of talk about Dompiers like they're just nothing. But then, like, where would they be without the Dompiers protection? And like, I just love that whole conversation. It's so complex, and yeah.
Well, Rose also mentioned. Sorry, Nicole.
Before we move on, I just want to say something, like, about the therapy. I think a lot of YA books, when the main character experiences trauma, what they do is, oh, here's your love interest. That person is going to help you get out of it. And that's not real. That, like, maybe it happens, but not to everyone. So I feel like writers need to start including more things like therapy and other things that can help the character get out of whatever they're going through, instead of saying, here's your love interest, that person is going to change your life, you're going to be happy now because you have someone that loves you. And it's not realistic. I feel like that's just something that I really liked about this book, like seeing that part of the therapy. And that was it. I just wanted to comment that before we moved on.
I hate the trope where it's like the love interests, their job is to fix them. And I'm like, no, they're not a therapist. And even if like their career was being a therapist, they're not your therapist. That's not a line you should cross.
Do you think that sometimes a lot of people do actually treat their significant other like that and enter into relationships under those pretenses, especially as being a kid and you don't really know what you want out of life and everything's about boys though?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely more prevalent as a teenager because like there are less healthy boundaries as a teenager, I think. And I'm remembering my own times as a teenager. I'm throwing myself under the bus here too. Where
I've been there.
yeah, where like internally you know that there's like you have your problems, and if you're neurodivergent and you have like depression or anxiety or something like that, you try to find solace in the things you can find solace in, but so often it isn't therapy for whatever number of reasons. So instead you just dump it on your significant other because you're taught that your significant other is supposed to be there for you in everything, and that being with them is supposed to make you happy and all that stuff. So you're like, that must mean that they are the key to being fixed inside. And I'm like, that's not it. You can't do that, because if you expect them to fix you, then you're not looking for a significant other. You're looking for a therapist. And that's an entirely different thing. Like, yes, having a significant other means, you know, being together and supporting each other and helping each other grow to be better people in whatever way you want to be. But it doesn't mean finding all of the problems and the trauma that you have inside and resolving that for you, because that's something that you need to do with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think YA books just, and some adult books, but I think YA books are like the most problematic when it comes to things like that, where it's like all of these teenagers go through trauma and it's never addressed. They only talk about it with their love interest. It's like, is this 5-minute conversation with your love interest really going to fix things for you?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you had a makeout session and everything's okay. I don't think so.
I don't know, maybe really good kisser.
Could you imagine if you had a kiss so good it healed mental illness? The money you
Magical lips.
Nana, did you say that you
Lisa has magical lips.
Oh my God.
Nana, you said you like Lissa. Do you like Lissa and Rose's relationship?
I don't know that I like their relationship, but I think that it's really interesting to explore. I think that in any books, like anytime there's just close proximity with characters, I love that, regardless of if they're friends or love interests or anything. And I think that their dynamic is really interesting, but I don't necessarily like it for them, at least now. I think that they need to like figure it out and figure out how they're going to be friends and like actually care for each other outside of their roles in relation to each other. And I think that will be the best for them. So I'm enjoying exploring that, but it's not necessarily that I like their relationship or dynamic. It's just interesting to read about.
We had a conversation in here in the chat talking about kind of getting into a little bit more political. Like why are the Moroi like idolized? And that kind of makes me also think like, why is using their magic? I think we talked about this last book too. Like why is their magic wrong to fight with?
I feel like it's just such a common power thing where the people highest in power think they're above dirtying their hands like that. So they're above using their magic to protect themselves because other people should die for them. And sadly, in this case, it's the Dampiers. But I really love that this book addresses that dynamic between them, and we get to see like the turmoil around that.
The thing, I really liked the interaction with the queen because I thought that, well, we really get to know what bitch she really is. The one thing I didn't like about it was just that why, if she thought so low of a dump here, why would she sit there and confide to her in that way and waste her time talking to her, you know? So I thought it was a little unrealistic. It was more just kind of like a plot device to stir up that drama and get like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, she did want to yell at Rose for supposedly dating Adrian.
Yeah.
She wanted to take her anger out on her.
And let us all know that she's trying to set up Lissa and Adrian.
Yeah.
I think it just.
lie. But she is sneaky, trying to like, oh, come move in the castle or the palace or whatever. Like move into court, and like she's gonna squish them together and play matchmaker.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the two of them together?
He's such a weird couple.
Oh, the dream walking. Now I had that in my notes when I was making notes in my book. Now is dream walking just as creepy as watching someone while they sleep? Because I'm kind of creeped out.
There's a lack of consent there, especially since he can dress Rose. Nicole.
I read Twilight. I love Twilight. We cannot talk about stalking. Like, Edward Cullen is the vampire who gets the crown for vampire stalking. So Adrian
You
is
reckon
just like a
that's
little
a bad
baby.
crown,
Like, no.
right?
I wonder if this like trope of like having weird stalking scenarios in these vampire books just stems from like the overall like legend of vampires, you know, like Dracula and stuff. Because like essentially those vampires were bad and they did stalk the people to like drink their blood and stuff. So I wonder if that's just like a watered down version of that original like fairy tale trope thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think people just like the toxic stuff.
Yeah. That's where the drama comes in.
I love it.
Oh my
I'm
god.
not gonna lie.
Oh my
I
god.
think my favorite thing about the dream was when Rose was wearing a blue shirt and Adrian was like, nah, I like you in red. I just
No, are you trying to tell me that if someone did this to you in real life, you wouldn't smack the hell out of them?
no, I would. But I love Adrian. I don't know. Like if Adrian would come up to me right now and said, I like you in red, hold on, let me go change.
Okay, can we talk about though that every single time Rose is in a dream with Adrian, she's always wearing those like key pieces of jewelry like the Nazar and stuff. Like I'm just convinced that her doing all these dreams is just a way to remind the audience that Rose has these things and that they're going to be important later.
Fair.
Because like every single time she talks about it, she's like, my Nazar's hanging from my belly button, and I'm like, okay, thanks. I don't need to know that every time.
That's right.
I didn't pick up on that, and I completely don't know the significance of it, even if I read the book. So
I think it comes in later.
I have to look for it now.
Yeah. I think the dreams are creepy, but I don't think they're as creepy as Edward stalking. Because at least Rose knows when Adrian's there, you know?
Yeah.
She didn't necessarily consent to this, but she knows he's there. It's my 2 cents on it.
And I don't know.
Sorry, Nicole.
No, go ahead.
In the comments, someone mentioned that the person could leave the dream. I'm like, is that a thing? Because I feel like I'm remembering wrong because it's been a couple months since I've read this one. But like, I thought that she couldn't leave, and she's like, oh, I just want to go to actual sleep, you know, and Adrian was like, too bad. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Is that a thing? Can you actually leave the dreams?
I mean, that's how I'm remembering it, that you can't leave the dreams.
Yeah.
I also haven't read this in a while.
But maybe like Rose just didn't try to actually leave. But also, I think the person who left this comment, I think they've read Bloodlines, so maybe it comes up in Bloodlines.
Maybe in Bloodlines I learned how to do it.
Maybe.
Do we
My
want
cat
to
is
talk about
having zoomies, just in case you start hearing disaster in the background.
Yeah.
It actually took me a minute to remember that they were actually having sex. And I was like, wait, is this just them making out or whatever? And then she says whatever line. That's when I skipped it. I was like, no.
Yeah, I didn't think the timing was very good on that.
I hate the like YA way of describing sex scenes. Like they're so pointless. Like there's nothing to them. It's just so vague. And I'm like, there's no point. Like, and also I hate the line where it's like, I couldn't tell where my body ended and his began. I'm like, stop. It's the worst.
That's such a tropey line. Like, I don't know where his body ended and mine began. Like, I mean, I think you know. I think you realize where it is.
It's on par with the line, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding or whatever.
Wait,
So,
can
that one.
someone tell me what chapter it is? Because I want to find my notes, but I don't tab.
I don't know. I don't have
Hold on,
my
I think I found it. Give me a second.
I don't remember.
Chapter 23.
Okay, I'm here.
It's like a couple pages before 24 starts.
This is so funny. Like, this is so bad. Like, this is, I don't think it should have happened. But I feel like it happened for a reason that we get to see in the next book.
Well, I think it also even just sets up, I think someone mentioned this in the comments, that it like makes him like turning into a Strigoi / dying, whatever, more intense, I guess, for Rose, because now they have like an even deeper connection or whatever.
Dimitri literally confesses his love after they finish having sex and then says, I'll always be here for you. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. And then a couple chapters later, he's not there for her anymore.
Yeah.
I thought
it's always going to be
line.
extra drama with the irony of the situation.
Yeah.
I thought it was really weird that, I don't know, it was a few chapters before they have sex, or it's like right before they have sex. He says something like, this is why I love you, Rose. And she doesn't really even react to it. And I was like, wait, she's not going to say anything about it? And then they're just banging it out. So I was like, never mind.
Don't worry, she got there.
I think it's so interesting because I'm rereading the series with my boyfriend who's never read it. And this is like my 5th time reading it. And like I always see these hints of things that I'm like, oh, that's definitely foreshadowing. But like I can't say anything because my boyfriend doesn't know. The only one I can think of off the top of my head is like in Frostbite, Mason, like when they're skiing, Mason's like, I wouldn't want to fall and break my neck. And then like, you know, and I'm like, oh, and Will's like, what? And I'm like, nothing. There's so many of those little things in this series.
I just,
as this sex scene in this book was like barely there, we knew what they were doing just retrospectively. But in the first book, when they were getting hot and heavy, that was very graphic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I feel like
go ahead.
I think that because like in the first book, because it was like a lust charm, and so it wasn't like genuine. Maybe that was intentional. It's supposed to read graphically to the reader, I guess, because they're like essentially like almost being forced, kind of. Whereas this time, it was consensual, obviously, and like more loving, I guess. It's more like sweet. I don't know if that.
They wanted to. I think they definitely wanted to make sure that we could hear how much Dimitri was saying how much he loved her and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that like I'll always zone out when like Dimitri is on the page or when he's with Rose. It just takes me right out of the story. And so I don't know. I always think about ways I could have like rewritten it, or because I think you could convey that stuff and still have the ending, I guess, be that impactful, even without that. Or if their love developed like after this point, maybe when they're both like a tiny bit older or something, or if he was just like younger in the first place. I don't know. It's just so like your boyfriend. It's my first time reading it. And so like it's just different for me because I'm always pulled out of the scene or of the story when he's on the page.
I wonder if it'll be the same way for you in the next book, since like we know that Dimitri is this. Do we know that Dimitri is a Strigoi? We do? Okay.
Yeah. They didn't find his body.
Yeah, okay. It's like I wonder if it's gonna be the same for you in the next book, since there will be lots of action when Dimitri is around, obviously.
I think it makes sense. Like maybe as a Strigoi, I might like him more because you're not supposed to like the Strigoi.
Yeah.
And like I've never liked him. So maybe my ideals and the book's ideals will align. And then we'll just go from there.
Nana, I think you're gonna eat that shit up. Like honestly, there's something in book 4 that I just that is it. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'll start reading it as soon as I can, and I'll keep you updated.
Oh my god.
I think what was the funniest like part of the whole sex thing was when he said, "We can't," and then she says, "I know," and then they started kissing. Like, I don't like. There was no control, and then they also say something like, "It went beyond just animal passion." Like, I don't know. I guess the way that this whole scene is written, it just, I don't know. I read smut. This is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't forget when she compares it to the time that they were under the influence of Victor's necklace, and she was like, "It reminds me of that instance when both of our consents and willpower was stripped away. It's so romantic."
But she was, but it's even more passionate than that. And it's like, you guys were literally just walking into a cabin, and now you're doing it. I don't understand. There's literally no lead up. There's no lead up.
Yeah.
There's nothing to make
The
you
foreplay
think
with her crying.
there's nothing to make you think that's gonna happen. It's like even through the full book itself, I was like, oh yeah, they're kind of just like really chill this book. They're not there were some moments, but like in the last 2 books, there was so much angst between them that I didn't necessarily feel in this one, but maybe I'm just like ignoring it really well. And then suddenly they're having sex and I'm like
Skip.
okay.
Yeah, Rose was literally crying like 2 pages before. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know that would put me in the mood, so I'm not sure why this happened.
I know that I don't want to like speak in defense of it. I don't know, like even this time around reading that scene, aside from it being just really watered down, is like, I don't know, I didn't find it to be like not romantic or anything, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe it's just like the intensity of everything. Like Rose is literally like losing her mind. And I don't know, I just like eat that shit up when people are like going crazy and then there's like a romance scene right after. I don't know. That makes sense.
Can you please type the last comment?
It's true. It's true.
Actually, right.
It's like what Nicole was saying, where people will just like make out with their boyfriends. That's their form of therapy.
Like,
Well, people make such a big deal out of like having huge blowout fights and then having like sex to make up for it. Like, no. I'm too
I
mad
like
at you
those
right
scenes.
now.
It's definitely common in a lot of books. Like, I guess
Yeah.
to build the tension, I guess they usually do that sequence of events.
Yeah. I just feel like people aren't petty enough. Like, how are these characters getting in such a fight and then immediately after, like making up like that and sometimes having sex. And I'm like, you guys aren't petty. You guys don't know how to hold on to a grudge. Like, I don't.
Right?
I think
Maybe I
not.
should wish that I could get over it so easily. I'm a grudge.
I don't know if it's a matter of getting over it. Maybe it's just like the intensity of your emotions and like the heat of the moment kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I can't
Avoiding communication.
experience, but I don't know. I feel like that you see that a lot in not even just in books, like in media in general. I think.
Yeah, that's fair. Nana, do you have a character that you like a favorite character? Because I know Dimitri sucks. We get it. He could use a personality.
I just could never win. We had Mason for 2 books, and we have how many left? And he's gone. We have 10 left.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe because I like Mason. Well, we had his ghost in this one, so he was still
Really?
around. I like Mason. I don't know. He was a cool character. I honestly don't even remember like much about him anymore. I just remember liking him.
Yeah. I think you like Eddie.
Mm-hmm. I have to read more about Eddie. I just don't remember everything about him.
Eddie's a good guy.
You like Christian, don't you?
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. I like Christian. So we have one. There we go.
Okay, good. You would have hurt Steph's feelings if you said you didn't.
No, I remember in the beginning, like the very first live show, Nana and I were both talking about how we didn't like Dimitri, and then we were like, oh, well, we like Christian.
Yeah. It's Christian, his backstory. Mm-hmm. I think, honestly, every character is, like, interesting, except Dimitri. He's not really an interesting character, but, like, every character has something that's interesting about them, sans one. And then I think Christian is probably the most interesting. His backstory, just, like, with his family and him not being like them, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think Christian probably has the best backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like trying to remember everybody else's backstory, and I'm like, what did you guys go through? I don't remember.
Nothing.
Wow.
I can't really think of any other characters that went through. I mean, Lissa lost her family. Like, that have gone through anything that's, like, off page, like, before the series starts.
You know, I think YA had a really bad habit also of, like, one of the characters, like, or the main character, losing their parents, and, like, that was all you needed to know about them.
Yeah.
And that was, like, their whole motivation for everything. And that's kind of Lissa's character. I think that's why she's not, like, a favorite of mine. Except for she's really, I do like, she seems very smart for, she's going to be a good queen, you know?
Yeah. That's fair, because I feel like Lissa definitely wouldn't be the person she is if her family had lived through the car crash, or if the car crash hadn't happened. Because, like, she feels so, like, pressured into being a really good candidate, I guess, or, like, representing her family politically, just because she's the last one. So, yeah, she definitely would be a different person if her family were alive.
Actually, speaking of like backstories, and something I randomly thought about and made a note of was when Rose was talking to the Queen, and the Queen brings up Rose's dad and her mom, and how her mom thought that she could change, I guess, like the trajectory of their relationship. And Rose was like, what are you talking about? And then it's not really discussed. I don't remember that happening. I don't actually remember in future books. This isn't a spoiler or anything. I don't remember if Rose's dad ever comes into the picture. But what did you guys feel about that, like, scene and her, like, getting a glimpse into her mom's backstory?
I liked it. That's the first time she heard her father's name.
Yeah.
And I know it's significant. I'm excited for that, to reread that.
I think I like the mom's backstory more as an adult than I did as a teenager, because, like, you know, as a teenager you're like, ew, parents are gross.
Yes.
But like being older now, I'm like, yeah, definitely, like, I can definitely see where her mom's coming from with literally everything that she does and says.
I think that was Rose's moment to go through what everyone goes through when they finally realize, oh, my parents had a life before me. Like, they are their own people with their own struggles and backstory that I know nothing about. And it's kind of like it's a weird moment, but it's a moment she needs to hopefully get more empathy for her mom and bridge the gap between them.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the thing of Rose borrowing money?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. We had a question.
I can't remember what condition he gave.
He wants her. So he's the only other person that's aware of her relationship with Dimitri.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows everything. He just knows there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he doesn't ask any questions, but he's like, just give me a chance whenever you get back.
Mm-hmm.
Like a real, like, romantic chance to date him. Because I always thought, oh, he's just a shameless flirt, but he doesn't really want anything out of it. But, like, this is kind of his, like, think of me kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he knows at that point in Rose's life, there's no way that she can think about being with anybody because, of course, she just lost or potentially lost, like, the love of her life or whatever, what she thinks is the love of her life. And so, like, he knows that she would never, like, be able to put herself in a spot where she can be with somebody else romantically until, like, she's had that closure. So
I do think when you strip it down to, like, what it is, like, he gives her unlimited money to fund her trip in exchange for a real chance with her. If you strip it down to that, I think it sounds really bad and it sounds toxic and manipulative, but I also don't think that's what it is. I think the wording of it's off, but I also think that if Rose were to come back and tell Adrian no, and that she's not in a place to give him a chance and that she doesn't want to do that, I also think Adrian would, like, accept that.
yeah,
I agree.
Like, I think at the end of the day, he's not going to hold the money over her head. He, like, mostly just wants to help her because he cares about her. But I think he'd be upset if she didn't give him a chance, but I don't think he would force it.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's fixated on her. Like, I get the whole flirting thing, that's fun with anybody. But anyway, he, like, how does he have real feelings for her? Like, they don't even know each other really, except for they banter well.
true. Maybe he just is dead set on getting to know her better.
I mean, I guess he kind of knows her, how Lissa cares for her and stuff.
I mean, in all fairness, I do think he knows enough to care.
Yeah. And, like, that's the point of dating, really, is to just, like, get to know people on a deeper level to see if you want to be with them, essentially.
I think it's also kind of a product of our main badass character being, like, the center of all boys' attentions.
Mm-hmm. That's very fair.
But not Christian, because he's loyal. Don't forget.
I think, like, me speaking from experience, like, sometimes you find someone really intriguing even if you don't really know them, so you obviously would like to. So dating them or trying to get, like, a chance or, like, a shot from them, I think it doesn't mean that you're gonna end up together, like Jess said. It's more like I just want a chance to get to know you. I don't know if it was Jess or Ebony. Like, I just want to get to know you to see if we're gonna end up together. So, like, I do think the thing with the money, like, it does seem a little bit sketchy, but at the end of the day, I feel like Jess said, like, when Rose come back, or if she comes back, like, he wouldn't force her to be in the relationship. I feel like he obviously wants her to be okay because they're friends. Like, at the end of the day, like, they're friends. And I mean, if I had the money and a friend of mine asked me, like, I really need this, like, I need this in my life right now, and I had the money and, like, I was super rich and I don't really care about the money and you know what I mean, I would do it. Like I would want them to be okay if I'm rich.
I just looked up the scene to see exactly what's said, and I will point out that at the end of their conversation, Adrian says, "Just keep your promise and come back." And Rose points out, like, I never like agreed to the promise. Like she said, like I never said promise, and he says, like, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna miss you. Essentially, I feel like Adrian admitted in that moment, like, Rose never definitively agreed to it. And he's like, yeah, I know you didn't agree to it. I know that it's a big possibility you're going to come back and nothing is ever going to happen. I'm still going to help you.
Yeah.
You're right. It brought, like, it kind of took his, like, shameless flirting to, like, something a little bit more serious. I did like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think ultimately he wants a chance, but he's also not going to force it. And he knows that he can't. What does that say? I love him so much. Okay.
And it's literally when that happens, when he's saying, like, I'll be waiting for you, let me know, whatever. I literally wrote that because I do. I love him so much.
Oh, okay. All Adrian did was ask, like, when you come back, will you give me a fair shot? Like, that's all he really did. He asked if she would give him a fair shot. And Rose's response was, of course. So, like, I don't know. I just don't see it as a very manipulative thing. If anything, I can't say much without going into the future books. I'm just going to say that I don't think Rose treated Adrian very well.
100,000,000% agree.
I agree.
If Adrian is using her or manipulating her, it's a mutual thing. Like, she's using him just as much for his money.
Yeah. I wish that she had told him where she was going. Like, I know why she didn't, because she didn't want people to come after her and stuff. But, like, I don't know. It just feels unnecessary to make people who care about her worry that much. And there's other things that happen in the next book that, like, really grind my gears with Rose and Adrian and even Lissa that I'm not going to get into, obviously, because spoilers. But, like, I have so many emotions.
Part of me wonders if the reason she does what she does, like, takes off, is because she doesn't actually think that it's going to affect anybody. I don't think she realizes how big of an impact she has on people's lives. And I don't know. I know that she knows that like her and Lissa have this great relationship. That's how she views it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that she thinks anybody else would care if she goes away.
It goes back to her not valuing her life.
Yeah.
Can we talk about when she, like, goes to withdraw from school and Kirova's like, no, don't do this or whatever, and Rose is like, you tried to kick me out so many times and you want me to stay? I don't know. That was, like, a really wholesome moment for me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting too, because she was like school is everything, becoming a guardian's everything, and like all that's kind of going into question. And even like just the state of the academy and how unfair it is, and she just seems like she's just over it. And I really kind of like that shift in her beliefs.
I think it's also because she's trying to be in Dimitri's shoes, and like if she would have been taken away, she feels like she obviously wouldn't have, like she didn't want to be a Strigoi. And I think Dimitri tells her in either the second or the third book, like, oh, I would rather die than be a Strigoi.
I think it's the first book.
Or in the first book. I don't know when it happens.
When they go to the mall, I think it is.
Yeah, that's when it happens. So I feel like Rose felt obligated to go and look for him. And I don't know, I just feel like it shows how she really cares for him and loves him, but she's not really aware of all the people that love her. So that's sad.
Yeah, I think I think everything changed too when she was actually put in that situation with Mason and everybody. and being like fighting Strigoi all by herself because she had full faith in what the school could teach her, and she thought she could just come out swinging and she'd be fine. The school would have her back. But she's starting, like, she realized in that minute that, like, whatever they're teaching you at school does not prepare you for the real world. So what's the point anyways, kind of thing.
And Dimitri affirmed that, like, right before everything happens. Like, I think it was a little bit before they went and had sex. She was talking to him about how, like, the school, she feels like the school doesn't teach them the things that they need to know. And he actually said, I learned more. He said he agrees and that he learned more in his first year out in the field than he did at school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think we talked about when Dimitri went missing. Like, I didn't feel anything because, like, whatever. But I don't know if anybody felt something, like, sad or something. I don't know.
When I first read the books, I felt all the feels. I was like, oh my God, where is he? I know what happened to him. Like, I was freaking out. Of course, this time around, I knew it was coming. So,
yeah, I think I cried the first time, gonna be honest. But of course, I was like 15 or 14 or something.
I don't think I emotionally cared, but I think I was shocked that that was the direction the book was going. Like, I think I just didn't expect it to go in that direction. And I just want to say, I don't hate Dimitri. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't hate him. I respect him a lot as a character. He's just not, like, my favorite character ever.
Yeah.
And the way, I feel like Rose emotionally reacted more to Mason dying than Dimitri missing. So I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, she cares less, it seems. So do I. So yeah, I think I was just shocked. That's where it was going to go.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I didn't cry when this time around, but when Rose said goodbye to Mason in the end of this book, I cried. Like, I don't know, there's just something about Mason. He was so likable, and I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely miss Mason in the later books. Like, I wish he was there. Why did they have to kill him? I don't get it. Couldn't they have killed Mia? Nobody cares about her.
I kind of like her now. I like the one scene we had with her.
She's not as cool as Mason, though.
No, absolutely.
I like Mia's bad bitch energy, but also, like, I don't know. We could do without Dimitri. Like, if they would have kept Mason and Dimitri turned into Strigoi the last book, like, that would have been cool.
Honestly, I would have been down, like, if this series, like, yeah, it did turn him into a Strigoi earlier and just, like, mixed him all together. I wouldn't have been mad. I would have been like, okay. And then I would have shipped Rose and Adrian even more.
Okay, when we get to the last book, we need to ask, like, a question of everyone and be like, what's the one thing, the one event in this entire series that you would want to change? Like, I think that'd be an interesting question. And if everybody's answer is, like, kill Dimitri in the first book, there's a problem.
But I think, like, if this was a completely different story, you could probably still get the same beats if you did kill him in the first book. Like, that, I guess, growing up very quickly and, like, the loss of, I guess, innocence. Like, you have to grow up and take this seriously because now your mentor is gone. Or maybe even if he died in the second book instead of Mason, I think you could have still had that same beat. But I mean, it does work how they did it, how Richelle did it.
I think we definitely had to have someone become a Strigoi for the rest of the story to go the way that it does. And right now, with the information that we have, we needed someone to become a Strigoi so that Rose could have the motivation to detach herself from the school and then detach herself from Lisa in the process. Because I don't know what else would have had the power to detach her from Lisa. Like, I don't know what else would have done it besides someone important to her becoming a Strigoi.
Yeah, I think that Dimitri is actually a pretty essential role as to how she grows up internally. because I really don't see that she would have otherwise. There's no one else in her life who challenges her. And, I think in that same way, and I think that's kind of what she loves about him too. Like, she likes the challenge and all that. But yeah, you're right with the intensity of nobody would have provoked her to drop everything that was ever important to her.
Yeah.
I do like the layers too. Like everything, like she's even learning about things about her world, and like she thinks one way about like blood whores or whatever, but as she gets to know Dimitri and Dimitri's history, and as we get into the next book, like a lot of things like that are kind of also shifting of perspectives. So I really think that the author does such a good job with building up those concepts.
Yeah. I want to address the most recent comment about like it would be wild if Lisa had gone Strigoi. I think it's in this book where they mention that one teacher who became Strigoi. Yeah, this is the book where they mentioned that she became a Strigoi, right? And the reason why?
First one.
Did we get the reason why she did so in the first book, or was it later?
Because she was a spirit user. And like,
yeah, okay. Since that hint was dropped, immediately I was like, oh, Lisa has to become Strigoi at some point. Lisa has to want to become Strigoi at some point. Why else would they mention this?
Well, I think
to become Strigoi.
I think it's there to show like the difference between someone who's a spirit user who doesn't have a shadow kissed person versus someone who does. Because like Saint Vladimir had Anna, and Miss Carp had nobody, and Miss Carp became a Strigoi, and Saint Vladimir did amazing things. And so I think it shows that like dynamic, and shows what Lisa is capable of because she has someone there for her who is shadow kissed and stuff.
Yeah. I was just led very astray. I thought it
would be cool.
It would be really cool because of the connection that they have, and also because of Christian's family members, how he would deal with it. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I wonder like what would happen to Rose if that did happen to Lisa. Like, would Rose die? Or like or would she go insane because she doesn't have that like connection to Lisa anymore? Because Rose is literally only alive because Lisa saved her. So, like, if Lisa wasn't alive anymore, I wonder how that would affect Rose. Like, not just because it's her best friend, but, like...
she's connected to her.
Yeah, like the...
Like, her life essence is kind of in... Lisa holds a little bit of her life essence.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't... That would have been a cool thing to just, like...
Yeah, I never thought about that. The only thing I was thinking about was the shift that Rose would have to go from having her whole life purpose being protecting Lisa to then having her whole life purpose being like killing Lisa.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, I don't think she would go crazy because she's only holding on to darkness because it comes from Lisa.
Yeah, but I still think the fact that she's even shadow kissed at all might play a role because, like, the life force that she has came from Lisa. Mm-hmm. So if Lisa didn't have a life force at all, I think that something would happen to Rose. I don't know what. I'm not the author.
You know what would be interesting is if there wasn't just one shadow kiss, because she saved, like, animals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if she has more than one shadow kiss person, then technically they could all help take the darkness from her.
I don't think, as a spirit user, I don't think that animals necessarily count as like a shadow kiss person, because in the next book they get into things about shadow kiss like even more. I don't want to spoil anything. They get into it.
Oh, and okay. I think that.
I guess just hold on to your thought process until we finish the next book, and then we can rediscuss.
Sweet.
When Saint Vladimir died, it was mentioned, I think it was in this book, that like pretty soon after, Anna committed suicide. I feel like if Lisa would have gone Strigoi, then Rose probably wouldn't have been able to handle it. Because it
Yeah,
would
I
have been like if Lisa was dead.
I wonder if there would be a difference though, because Saint Vladimir just died, like of natural causes. I believe. I think he just got old. Versus like if Lissa chose to go Strigoi. Like I wonder if there would have been a difference because of like the nature of their death or undeath. I don't know.
You know, I think it's coming back to me now, kind of what you were talking about in the next book.
Yeah.
But like right now, they don't really quite understand the Shadow Kiss bond.
They don't.
And that might be a spoiler though. So yeah, we'll definitely have to come back around to this.
I love how much like intricacy they have in the bond, in spirit using, magic in general. Like there's just so much you can do with it. It's so cool.
Do we want to talk?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask the people in the chat if they wanted for us to talk about something. But go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, should we like wrap up and then are we doing a playlist for this one?
We have to.
Okay. Because like I feel like it took us a long time to do that playlist, and we're already an hour and a half in.
It took a long time to do Mason's playlist because everyone was going so hard after him.
I can make the playlist, but we have to decide who do we want to do the playlist for. I guess drop your answer in the chat. Just say like who you would want for us to make a playlist for in this live show.
I feel like the most, I don't know, maybe Dimitri though, because like, I don't know.
Yeah.
My thought was Dimitri. Since we honored Mason in the last one, Dimitri kind of died this time. But
Despite all y'all haters.
Kiro. I mean, we could honor her.
I don't know why, but I saw Kurova, and the first song I thought about was that one song, Lip Gloss or something, where it's like, my lip gloss be poppin'. I have no idea why.
Oh, or Rose, because like
We
brought
could
her to the very end. She's taken off. We could do Rose too.
But we already did Rose in the first one.
Oh, we did
The first one. Yeah.
I like T. Kennedy's idea.
You would. Of course you would. Christian for his amazing fire powers.
Right.
You make him sound like a Pokemon.
I think we could also do Christian and Dimitri in another book.
I think, yeah.
But I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Who are you suggesting, Nicole?
I can do either Christian or Dimitri.
Lisa is also an option. I'm just gonna.
Ah.
But I think we should wait for Lisa.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, I think Lisa, I think it's in book 5.
Even book 6.
I'm thinking the last book for Lisa.
Yeah, last book.
Okay.
I definitely think last book would be the best for Lisa.
I like don't remember 2 books well at all. Like I remember the next book, but after that, I blacked out. It's all a blur.
Okay.
I just don't remember when the 5th book ends and the 6th book begins. Like in my mind, it's just one. Like those 2 books are together because I read them like super quickly, so I don't really know how to make the distinction.
I do want to do one for Adrian at some point, but since we know that Adrian is in the Bloodline series, should we do Adrian?
That's what I thought. Like maybe we should wait. I do agree with the people who are like, wait for the next book for Dimitri.
Yeah.
Because that opens the door to so many songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just do it for Stan. I think TV's right.
Oh my God.
I don't even remember who Stan is.
He's the instructor that hates Rose.
Oh! I completely blocked them from my mind.
Oh, we could do the Queen.
Ugh.
I mean, we hate her,
possible.
so I don't know. There might be some like potential. I don't know.
Dude.
I think this could be Christian's because he did kill a lot of
He did a lot.
Strigoi.
We got to know Christian a lot in this book, so
Okay.
yeah.
I'm good with Christian.
Okay.
Okay,
So, like,
so are we going?
I don't
okay.
think he's.
Okay, so the entirety of Taking Back Sunday, we got that covered. Just throw them in there.
Okay. For me, it's so weird
No,
that
wait.
song.
Please look at Eleanor's recent comment. Queen Tatiana and WAP. Okay, Eleanor, hold on to this. We're gonna revisit in another live show because I agree.
Just imagine Queen Tatiana twerking.
Okay, so what song do we want to start with?
Steph seems to have the entire playlist all ready to go.
Yeah,
The last comment.
Hold on, I'm opening my personal playlist called That Emo Phase. Though.
Nine Inch
I'll get back to you.
Yes, all of my
call it.
playlists are emo.
Yeah.
Like,
You need to diversify your music taste, okay?
I think we need some My Chemical Romance in here. Like, I just
Definitely.
feel
You're
like
into everything.
I think we should name it Emo Church Attic Music.
There is a song called Her Love Is
I
My
will.
Religion by The Cab. That's kind of emo church.
I'm telling you, everything Taking Back Sunday. Like the whole each of their albums, just all of them.
all of their albums.
I'm stuck between Home and Just Like You by 3 Days Grace because I'm thinking about his family and just how he doesn't want to be like them. But I think Home makes more sense for that. Like,
I
this
love
house
it.
is not home.
Yeah.
I don't remember who sings this song, but you know the song that's like, I hate everything about you.
That's what it's called. It's like 3
No, but who sings it?
Days Grace.
Yeah, 3 Days Grace.
That's a great song.
That song is so good.
3 Days Grace sings it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think it's
Is the next, it goes like, I hate everything about you. Why do I love you?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, maybe it's a different song.
No, I know.
no,
what you're
isn't it? I hate everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 3 Days Grace song.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know which one's the
I'm putting
Okay.
in.
Hold on, I'm gonna listen because I don't remember.
Yes,
being-
are you doing the playlist, yes, or do I do the playlist?
No, you do it. I'm just putting in a couple of song suggestions that I think into the chat so that I
okay.
don't forget it. Because I think Alone Together by Fall Out Boy and Just One Yesterday by Fall Out Boy
my
are both good.
God.
I think Just One Yesterday might be the emo church attic music we're looking for.
Sorry, tell me why I didn't think 3 Days Grace went that hard. I just didn't. Sorry.
Y'all better not skip over that Christina Aguilera song.
Okay, so how do I name it then? We said emo.
Emo church attic music.
This is I can't.
Since I think, go ahead.
I'm thinking we need a song with like fire in the title or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Isn't there? I bet
I
there's a
don't know
lot of
why.
songs.
I was thinking of I Got That Power. You know which one?
Yeah.
I think it's by Justin Bieber.
Hmm. And Will I Am.
Yeah.
I feel like in the
No surprise here.
should we just put it in the chat? I'm just gonna put them in the chat.
Yeah,
I'm putting it in the
can
chat.
I just
I feel
write
like
it on the
it's
chat, please?
easier for Nicole.
Okay, I'm adding songs right now. I
Me just
love
looking up the word
this
fire on
playlist. I
Spotify.
listen to them, honestly.
I just looked up fire on Spotify and one of the top results was Fire Burning by Sean Kingston. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, probably nobody knows this song but me, but there's a song called Bring Me a War by Skylar Drive, and I think that's pretty fitting for what happens at the end of the book. I can put it in the chat if that helps, Nicole.
Yeah, please, because it's so much easier.
Yeah. And it's very emo attic music, so.
This isn't an emo song, but in the movie Karate Kid, there's a song called You're the Best Around. And I think Christian is the last remaining best character. So we can do that. Oh
Yes.
my God, rumors? I was just listening to that.
Okay, can Eleanor send Blood Like Lemonade by, is it Yum? Or YUM? I can only find it by Morkiba. I don't know if it's the same song. Eleanor, could you please tell me if it's that song or not? Please. Oh my gosh, In the End by Linkin Park, yes.
Do we have the last two playlists on our Twitter? We do, right?
Yeah, we
there's
do.
a thread.
Yeah, Florence and the Machine and Muse have good songs. I agree. Oh my gosh, cute.
What just happened?
What?
Okay, here's the thing. Taking Back Sunday is one of my favorite bands, and I tweeted something about them the other day, and then Steph was like, and we were just like vibing.
God.
Nicole, we're always vibing.
I know. I feel like we're the emo sisters
Mm-hmm.
in the family.
Wait, okay, hold on. I'm wearing my Waifu Bright sweatshirt. I want to be part of the emo family.
Oh my gosh, that is true.
Okay, listen. I don't have a Black Veil Bride's shirt anymore, but I used to. Don't exclude me here, okay?
I have so many Black Veil Bride shirts. It's ridiculous.
I just got out of a graphic tee phase, okay? I don't like graphic tees anymore, but I used to have one.
Oh my gosh. Like, I have enough to make a quilt.
Ma'am.
I think for Fire, you could do Burn It Down by Linkin Park.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Okay. I just had one and I forgot it.
Oh, there's also one called What It Is to Burn by Finch. I just don't remember.
Oh my
Let me
gosh,
listen to that.
Steph, why are you laughing? You were like, mute. laugh. Oh my gosh, the way this is a playlist that I would make for myself.
What I've been waiting for all my life.
I think it's fantastic.
Okay, I'm adding the obligatory Taylor Swift song, and the song is Holy Ground because he spends so much time in the church.
Okay, hold on. I'm just scrolling through my emo face playlist, and I found the perfect song for Dimitri's playlist for the next book. So do not forget Bring Me to Life by Evanescence, okay?
Yes. yes.
Do not forget that one.
I do feel like Christian would love Taylor Swift.
Do you think Christian would like Britney Spears? Maybe.
Yeah. Especially after that documentary came out too. If he wasn't already a stan, he would definitely be one now.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna check her entire discography and see which one fits then.
I need to find something by
Poison.
My Cam.
Everything on the
Oh my
Circus.
gosh.
The Circus album?
That's her
Maybe
most-
Overprotected.
I feel like that would be more Lisa.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
But the thought of Christian being a closet Britney Spears stan makes me happy. So I'm looking.
I was just thinking the other day about how
Oh my
like
gosh.
I'm actually a huge Britney stan. Like I never accepted it before, but
She has great music.
Mhm.
Could you
Yes,
could you
solid.
highlight the comment above, please, so I can take a picture of it? I just need to save it for whenever we do a song about Asian. So like we cannot forget about this.
Okay, hear me out. What about Criminal by Britney Spears as like
Mama, I'm
the
in love with
stereotypes
Criminal.
against Christian?
Or that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I just saw in the chat Toxic. I was thinking of Toxic for Dimitri's playlist. I have that one in mind.
Yeah, I think that's what they were talking about.
You could do Playing with Fire by
Wait.
Blackpink.
Nicole, I'm trying to think of a good Panic at the Disco song for this playlist. And I think Lying is the Most Fun might be good for all those.
A girl can have without it. Yes.
Okay.
I love that song. That is my favorite Panic song.
It's a great song.
I don't think I've ever heard the song Hot as Ice by Britney Spears.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off. Such a
Well, that's
long
too
title.
long.
On the album, it's like Lying is the most fun a girl can have without taking her clothes off. And then the next track is But It's Better If You Do.
Yes, it's so that album is a masterpiece. And it's not because of Brendan Urie, it's because of Ryan Ross. I said it, I love Ryan Ross. I love him.
I miss
It's
old
amazing.
Disco. I miss it so much.
Okay,
Me too.
the song Hot as Ice is kind of comical when you put it next to Christian, but I agree. It should go.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Dimitri's playlist for the next book is going to be amazing.
Yeah. I'm glad we waited for the next one.
Okay. What do you think about Make Damn Sure by Taking Back Sunday?
Yeah. Resounding yes.
Oh my gosh. This is so, like, I just feel like I'm making a playlist for myself. This playlist is going to be so long. I love it.
I can't be longer than Mason's. Wasn't Mason's like super duper long?
We went
Yeah,
hard
Mason
for
was
Mason.
super long.
Take me to church.
That's a great one.
Of course.
Let me add it.
It has the perfect level of worship for how Christian feels about Lisa.
Yeah.
I cannot decide what song by My Cam I want to add.
Obviously, I'm not okay.
Didn't we do that one for Mason?
I think maybe we talked about it, but I don't know if it got added actually.
It has to be from the Danger Days album because I think it's more. I don't know. What am I thinking? My Cam literally has a full, like a whole album, my third album, like talking about vampires, and I don't think we've ever used any song from that album.
I mean, I didn't know it existed.
It's my favorite. Okay, I think I don't know. I found the perfect song for Dimitri. Okay, so there's a song called Vampires Will Never Hurt You. And then it begins. And if they get me and the sun goes down into the ground, and if they get me, take this spike to my heart.
The next playlist is gonna be so good.
I'm so excited. Let me screenshot and write a note for myself so that I don't forget. Oh, crush.
If you're so excited about vampires, Nicole, there's literally a band called Vampires Everywhere.
Oh, I'm going to check them out.
Immortal Love is my favorite song by them, if you're curious.
You said vampires what?
Vampires Everywhere.
There's also a band called Vampire Weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're so good. I like them.
My heart wants to include a Halsey song, but I can't figure out which one, if any.
Ooh.
My first instinct was to say Bad at Love, and I'm like, wait,
I
no.
was just looking at that one. I don't think it's that wrong. There's a section in the song that starts talking about jealousy and stuff. And I mean, he is. I think this is for Lisa eventually, but Successful by Ariana Grande, I think is good for Lisa.
Yeah.
Eleanor, what song is it? Because you said also his disdain for all things royal and religious. Is that like a song? Or
Nana, I love the Jonas Brothers song.
I'm just sticking to like fire songs.
okay, not a song. Oh my gosh, I found the perfect My Cam song for Christian. Okay, save yourself, I'll hold them back. And then it says, I hope you're ready for a fire fight because the devil's got your number tonight. We're never leaving. This is amazing, yes. I'm just going to add it. We officially have more songs in this playlist than in Mason's.
Oh my goodness.
But that's okay.
Yeah, this was long. How long is it? Like in terms of time? Like, is it already an hour long? It should be, right?
It's an hour and 53 minutes long.
We can get that to 2 hours.
But I still need to add Burning Down.
This is gonna be such a good playlist. I can't wait to listen to it.
We need 4 minutes to go into 2 hours. So maybe we could do one more song.
Is there anything like about like anarchy?
There has to be.
Because he's kind of, or a rebel, being like a rebel and going against the government and stuff. I'm sure.
Riot by Three Days.
What was that song you suggested? Riot by
3 Days Grace.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't remember my 3 Days Grace very well.
Me neither, apparently.
Yeah, me neither. Like I remember some songs, but
Yeah, I can see this one being for Christian.
okay, perfect. I'm gonna add it now.
I hope that reaches 2 hours. Watch it still be 1 more minute.
2 hours. Yay.
Good job, guys.
Okay. I'm so excited. Okay, I will tweet out the link to the playlist so that everyone can listen to it. It's called Emo Church Attic Music parentheses Christian VA playlist.
I love that. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about in the book?
I think we covered it all.
I don't know if anyone in the chat has any last thoughts.
I don't have anything to say about this, but I just want to say Tatiana's boy toy.
Yeah, we never did talk about that.
That's true.
I don't have thoughts about it. Kudos to her for pulling, but
Oh, I forgot.
critical.
Steph and I were talking about it backstage, but you know how like the whole like Adrian's older than Rose, but like Tatiana is much older.
Yeah, but Tatiana's the queen, and there's
And
also
she's
like the
the
thought that
one.
she doesn't intend to stay with him the way she thinks Rose intends to stay with Adrian.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. We didn't really talk about the weird fight club either, but
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right. That too.
I kind of always forget that that's in this book.
because there's some Roy teenagers being dumb. It's all their fault. They're so stupid. Yeah, the fight
Yes,
club was
I couldn't
weird.
believe him. I thought he was gonna like say something nice and endearing, and then it went way a different way I was not expecting. I was like, oh, I hate him. Jesse.
Jesse,
Yeah.
it's Jesse. I got really confused for a second, but I was like, "Oh, you're talking about Jesse."
Yeah.
I didn't do
And I
anything.
was like, I thought it was like, wait, not you.
Oh. Yeah, the fight club was weird. Yeah, I agree with TB. I think it was just a random plot point to get the walls down, and also it comes mildly into play in the rest of the series, but only as a concept. Like the characters learn something about it, but the only thing they really do is bring down the walls, and I'm like,
I also thought it was a weird plot point because they were already establishing that like there were humans working with the Strigoi to break wards in general. So it was like, why didn't you just use that plot point?
yeah. There's some. I feel. I'm not gonna say much about it until we get to like the last book and we can talk about the whole series overall. But I feel like there's some things that Richelle Mead brings up as a potential plot line regarding the Strigoi rising up or whatever that never comes to fruition.
Yeah.
That being one of them, with like the humans helping out the Strigoi. I was like, why did you have to throw in a fight club? What was the point of that one?
I think especially being started by two of the biggest like people who, you know, hate the Dompiers and treat them like garbage. And
Yeah, I mean, it was all about power. They just wanted to prove they were superior, which is in character with Maroys. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else we didn't talk about?
I think so.
I'm just so excited for the next book.
The next book's my favorite. Ugh, I can't wait.
I know. I kind of remember it, but it's not very strong, so I feel like it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
If Nana doesn't like it, I'm just gonna.
Yeah. There is a comment in the chat for you, Nana.
What do I think happens next?
Yeah, that's a good one.
No, not theory.
I don't know. I think I can tell you what I want to happen,
Yeah.
but I think everyone probably knows that already.
Oh.
Wait, lay over my face because my facial expressions are so strong.
It'd be cool if like Mason came back and then Dimitri was gone forever. And then she felt nothing, like she kills him, and then she doesn't feel anything. She's like, oh, I never loved him in the first place. And then she gets with Mason because he's brought back to life. And then her, Christian, and Lissa live happily ever after. No more books. It just ends right there.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next.
That's such a hopeful dream.
Here's the thing. Are you opposed to writing fan fiction?
If I wrote fan fiction, it would be like a time loop of just Dimitri getting killed by someone each time. No, like
1,000 ways to kill Dimitri.
I feel like in the next book there's going to be a lot of just angst, which I do like, but between Rose hunting him down and her feelings of her love and understanding that she's going to have to take him down. But I feel like somehow he will become regular again. He's not going to stay a Strigoi forever. And I do think that they will live happily ever after. I don't know how many books that will take, but I just feel like he's not going to be a Strigoi forever.
How disappointing. I know. So you think you're going to like him more as a Strigoi?
Do I think?
Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier that you think you're going to like him more as a Strigoi because we're supposed to hate the Strigoi.
Yeah. I do, because it just makes sense, you know? I just feel like if any character was supposed to become a Strigoi, it would be him, even just because of his connection to her. But I think it works.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe being evil will give him a personality.
Besides, what did he like cowboy stuff?
He likes Western novels.
And his
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget his jacket. We can't forget that one.
Amazing.
I think that's it. He's 90% Dampier Guardian, 5% Western novels, and 5% that jacket.
I feel like
West Rose.
Okay. 3% that jacket, 2% Rose. The Western novels beat her out, though.
Yes.
I feel like I need to marathon the rest of these now.
Yeah.
You should.
Because this is the part, like, Fourth and Beyond is the part where I don't remember much.
If any of y'all are worried about marathoning the rest of the books and then not remembering stuff for the live show, they have full recaps of each book online that like walks you through everything that happened. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel like, go ahead.
the beginning of each book sort of recaps everything that happened in the last book anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I think they stopped doing that after a bit, though.
Did they?
Yeah,
I just remember reading. Will and I just started Blood Promise, and he's like, "I don't need to know this. I remember. I'm not stupid."
Yeah, that kind of bugs me in books too, because all the recaps, and I feel like it's so repetitive, and it really kind of it makes the book feel longer and dragged out to me too.
Yeah. Well, I guess like, if you're reading them in time as they're coming out, it might be a year or more before you read the next book. So like maybe that's why.
Yeah.
It's annoying when you're going through them, but
Yeah.
if you don't want to read that recap chapter, there's a detailed recaps online, which is what I've been doing for each live show since I marathon the books.
Mm-hmm. Smart. Okay.
I guess that wraps us up then.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. I can't wait for the next one.
So
That will be in Steph's channel.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Next live show will be on Steph's channel, and it'll probably be like, what have we been doing, the second or third Saturday?
We did third this time.
Yeah.
Do we want to select a date now or wait till later?
We can always tweet it out later.
Okay.
Just late March is when we'll do it.
Yeah.
Are we doing the same time probably? This time.
Yeah. This time seems to work. So expect this time on a Saturday, last 2 Saturdays of March, probably.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.